Are you ready for the biggest cinematic events of 2025 and 2026? We've sifted through countless teasers, trailers, and press releases, from mind-bending sci-fi epics and explosive action thrillers to the next must-see comedy classics and the most anticipated comic book adaptations and fantasy adventures, to bring you the blockbusters that have our entire FrameVault community buzzing. This is your essential guide to the theatrical calendar. We cover the biggest studios, the star-studded casts, and the filmmakers pushing boundaries. Don't wait to find out the release dates. Get ready to mark your calendars right now. Hit that like button and subscribe, because these are the movies everyone will be talking about for years to come. Let's dive in. Get ready for Back in Action, the explosive new action comedy, which premiered on January 2025 on Netflix. Meet Matt, Jamie Foxx, and Emily, Cameron Diaz. They were once the CIA's most glamorous super spies, but a surprise pregnancy and near-fatal mission 15 years ago forced them to fake their deaths and trade explosives for suburban life in Atlanta. Their kids, Alice and Leo, only know them as excruciatingly uncool parents. But when a single viral video of their expert club brawl blows their perfect cover, it drags the entire family into a globe-trotting nightmare. Now, everyone wants the ICS key, a powerful device Matt hid that can control the world's entire power grid. Pursued by mercenaries, a jealous MI6X, and their shocking turncoat former CIA boss, Matt and Emily must race to London with their legendary, gun-toting MI6 mother, Glenn Close. For help, they face a final showdown at the Thames Barrier. It's Mr. and Mrs. Smith meet spy kids, proving old spies never fade. They just become more aggressive parents. Get ready for cold storage. Imagine working the world's most boring night shift at a self-storage facility. That's T-Cake, the slacker, and Naomi, the hero. Unbeknownst to them, their warehouse sits atop a military tomb for an extinction-level threat. A catastrophic cooling malfunction has thawed out a highly aggressive, parasitic fungus, Cordyceps novis. This mutating nightmare immediately starts its gruesome rampage, turning hosts into body-bursting abominations. Trapped inside the spreading biohazard zone, T-Cake and Naomi's only hope is Robert Quinn, a grizzled, retired bioterror operative, the only man who knows how to kill it. This dark comedy forces the unlikely trio to fight through the mayhem. Can they stop the brain-controlling parasite before it escapes the basement and ends humanity? Get ready for a gothic horror spectacle, The Bride. We're in 1930s Chicago. Frankenstein's lonely monster needs a partner, so he finds Dr. Euphronius to help create one. They take a murdered young woman and reanimate her. But this new life, The Bride, is beyond what anyone expected. She is born powerful, intelligent, and utterly vengeful. The Bride refuses to be a passive companion. She quickly questions her maker and the men who try to control her. What starts as a romantic experiment explodes into a terrifying, wild, and radical movement. With the police closing in, the monster and the bride ignite a combustible, twisted crime spree that will set the city on fire. Can a creature designed for love find freedom through chaos? Prepare for a shocking, beautiful, and violent horror romance event. Listen up. Robert Pattinson is Mickey 17, an expendable colonist on a hostilized planet. His job is to do the suicidal missions because if he dies, and he has 16 times, they just clone him with his memories intact. But when Mickey 17 survives a mission and returns to base, he finds the unthinkable. Mickey 18 has already been printed. Now, the two identical, low-value workers must secretly coexist or face deletion by the colony's autocratic leader, Marshall. As the Mickeys navigate a forbidden double life, a love triangle with security agent Nasha, and the discovery that the planet's alien creepers are sentient, they realize their expendability is key to exposing Marshall's brutal plan and saving the colony. If they don't kill each other first. Identity, class, and survival collide in Bong Joon-ho's dark sci-fi comedy. This movie is an absolute spectacle, guys, and it's a retro-futuristic, alternate 90s road trip after a devastating human-robot war. Orphan teen Michelle, played by Millie Bobby Brown, thinks her genius younger brother, Christopher, is dead. But everything changes when a cartoon-inspired robot named Cosmo shows up, claiming to be controlled by Christopher's mind. Now, Michelle and Cosmo embark on a cross-country journey across a dystopian American West, where most of humanity is hooked on a virtual reality system run by a sinister tech CEO. Along the way, they team up with Chris Pratt's smuggler, Keats, and his robot sidekick. Their destination? The Exclusion Zone, a walled-off desert where all the defeated robots have been banished. They must brave a hostile world and rally the exiled machines for a final confrontation to save Christopher, whose mind is being exploited to power the tyrannical electric state. It's a fight for family, for the real world, and for the soul of humanity. This movie is an absolute spectacle, and it's a total upgrade. Forget waiting for a prince. Snow White, Rachel Zegler, is a princess who becomes a warrior and a leader. Her stepmother, the evil queen, Gal Gadot, isn't just vain, she's a brutal tyrant who has crushed the kingdom. When the magic mirror names Snow White, the fairest, meaning the most just and deserving, the queen orders her execution. Snow White flees into the woods, where she finds the 7 dwarfs and a rogue bandit named Jonathan. They form a resistance. She doesn't just clean house, she organizes a rebellion. After the iconic poisoned apple moment, she is awakened not to live happily ever after, but to lead an army. Her compassion and strength rally the people and the guards, defeating the queen by destroying the source of her power. This Snow White takes back her kingdom to rule with fairness, just as her father taught her. It's a powerful, musical epic about finding your own strength. You guys have to see this. It's an insane new chapter in the John Wick universe. We meet Eve Macaro, Ana de Armas, a deadly ballerina assassin trained by the Ruska Roma, Angelica Houston's director. The story is a raw vengeance mission for her father's murder by a brutal cult led by the chilling chancellor, Gabriel Byrne. Eve disobeys the rules, going rogue to hunt the cult in a snowy Austrian town, forcing the director's hand. She hires a legend, John Wick, Keanu Reeves. Eve fights John, who ultimately shows her compassion. She gets a narrow window to finish her mission, with John begrudgingly watching her back from the shadows. Expect gorgeous ballet choreography mixed with a flamethrower duel and high-speed car chases. Plus, you get Winston and Sharon back. Eve gets her revenge, but the high-stakes underworld is just getting started with a $5 million bounty on her head. Get ready for a heart-stopping thriller. Julianne Moore is Kate, a grieving mother trying to keep her Pennsylvania horse farm, Echo Valley, afloat. Her troubled, drug-addicted daughter, Claire, Sydney Sweeney, returns home one night hysterical and covered in blood, claiming she killed her boyfriend. Kate's unconditional love is pushed to its absolute limit as she races to protect Claire, disposing of the body in a nearby lake. But the lies spiral when Claire's sinister drug dealer, Jackie, Domhnall Gleeson, begins to blackmail Kate. Forced into a dark alliance, Kate must risk everything, even burning down her beloved farm, to frame Jackie for a different death. This is a gripping tale of sacrifice, survival, and a mother's fierce, morally complicated devotion. You'll be on the edge of your seat until the final, shocking twist. The phone is ringing again for the Black Phone 2. It's 4 years after Finney, now 17, survived the grabber, but you can't kill true evil. Finney's still dealing with the trauma, but his sister, Gwen, now 15, is the one receiving the terrifying calls. Her psychic visions now reveal 3 new boys being stalked at a remote winter camp, Alpine Lake. The grabber, back as a supernatural entity, is angrier and more powerful in death. Determined to end the torment for both of them, Gwen convinces Finney to visit the snow-covered camp. There, they uncover a chilling secret, a shattering connection between the grabber's past and their own family's history, specifically linked to their late mother. The siblings realize this killer's vendetta is far more personal than they ever knew. Get ready for a high school horror where the nightmare leaves the basement and follows them into the desolate, frozen landscape of Alpine Lake. Finn and Gwen must confront a demonic force that knows all their secrets. Are you ready to answer the call? If you haven't watched The Astronaut yet, you need to add this sci-fi thriller to your queue immediately. The movie follows Captain Sam Walker, Kate Mara, who miraculously crash lands back to Earth after her first harrowing mission in space. Her capsule was punctured, and she was found alive, but NASA immediately places her under intense, isolated quarantine. General William Harris, Lawrence Fishburne, says it's for medical testing, but the secluded, high-security house feels more like a prison. Sam starts experiencing deeply unsettling events. Objects move, strange bruises spread across her body, and terrifying hallucinations begin. The chilling truth soon emerges: she didn't come back alone. An extraterrestrial entity followed her through space, and it's now manifesting its presence in the most horrifying ways. Is the threat just haunting the house, or is it something that has infected Sam herself? The line between paranoia and reality blurs as Sam fights a silent, cosmic entity that knows all her vulnerabilities. What did she bring back from the stars, and what will it take to stop it? If you haven't watched this film, then you need to watch it. We're talking about The Alabama Solution, the documentary that pulls back the curtain on one of the deadliest prison systems in the U.S. This isn't just news reports. This is an unvarnished, 6-year investigation led by Andrew Uretsky and Charlotte Kaufman. It was filmed covertly by incarcerated activists using contraband cell phones, risking everything to show us the truth. Prepare to see shocking footage of rampant violence, rat-infested cells, slave-like labor, and a system drowning in corruption. The film follows brave men like Melvin Ray and Robert Earl Council as they organize nonviolent resistance from inside. We also follow the heartbreaking search for justice by a mother, Sandy Ray, whose son was brutally killed by guards. This is a powerful, urgent story that demands we confront the nightmare being hidden from the public. Get ready to be outraged and inspired to action. Coming this December 19th, 2025, the battle for Pandora explodes far beyond the ocean in Avatar: Fire and Ash. The Sully family, still reeling from the loss of Nedium, must navigate a completely new threat: the Ash people, a volcanic-dwelling Nausicaa clan led by the ruthless warrior Varong. Unlike the peaceful tribes we've met, the Ash people show us the darker, aggressive side of the Nausicaa, having been hardened by extreme hardship. Their dangerous new leader has formed an uneasy, explosive alliance with the last person the Sullys want to see: the reborn Colonel Quaritch. As the war against the RDA escalates, Jake and Neytiri are forced to protect their family on a new, fiery front, while their son Loke takes over as the narrator. Get ready for a film that blurs the line between good and evil, where even the Nausicaa can be the enemy. The vibrant world you knew is about to be consumed by flame and hatred. Are you ready for the ultimate fight for survival? Get over here. The true fight is about to begin. Mortal Kombat 2 is coming to theaters May 2026, and the stakes couldn't be higher. After Shang Tsung's foiled scheme, the ultimate challenge is upon us: the official Mortal Kombat tournament. If Earthrealm's champions lose this final competition, the tyrannical Emperor Shao Kahn will conquer Earth. Our heroes, including Cole Young, Liu Kang, and Sonya Blade, must stand against Outworld's most brutal fighters. Luckily, they get a new, much-needed ally: Karl Urban as the cocky Hollywood star Johnny Cage, who is dragged into this hyper-violent, reality-bending fight. But be warned, the sorcerer Quan Chi has arrived, meaning iconic fighters like Kano and the defeated Sub-Zero are rising from the dead, with Baihan returning as the terrifying Wraith Noob Saibot. Expect a bigger, bloodier sequel where every defeat brings us closer to annihilation. This is the main event: flawless victory. The time has finally come, Oceans. Prepare yourselves for the shattering conclusion to the untold story of the Witches of Oz. Wicked, for Good is flying into theaters this November. The Emerald City is fractured. Elphaba has become the Wicked Witch of the West, fighting as a fugitive for the animals and embracing the power the world fears. Meanwhile, Glinda chooses the path of goodness, becoming the wizard's dazzling, conflicted public face, forced to uphold the regime that branded her best friend a villain. As their destinies diverge, the arrival of a little girl from Kansas, Dorothy, sets their world on an irreversible course. The plot thickens with the tragic fall of Nessa Rose, the Wicked Witch of the East, and the transformation of both Bach and Fiyero into two of Oz's most iconic characters, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow. Will Elphaba defeat the tyrannical wizard, or will she be destroyed by his propaganda? Can Glinda ever reconcile her friendship with the price of her crown? Get ready to witness the heart-wrenching consequences of their choices, all leading to a final, unforgettable goodbye. This is the ultimate tale of two friends who changed Oz for good. Hold on to your hats, because we're diving into the ridiculously fun, gross, and surprisingly heartfelt world of the Toxic Avenger. Forget your clean superheroes. This is about Toxie, the first ever New Jersey superhero. The story kicks off with Melvin Junko, a 98-pound weakling and janitor at a local health club. He's constantly tormented by the gym's toxic, self-absorbed clientele. After a cruel prank goes horribly wrong, Melvin is chased and plunges headfirst into a barrel of toxic waste. But instead of dying, he emerges as a grotesque, super strong, and hilariously disfigured mutant with a mop as his weapon. He's now the Toxic Avenger. Toxie decides to use his newfound, disgusting power for good. He starts cleaning up Traumaville, New Jersey, not just the garbage, but the corruption, the bullies, and the crime that plague the city. It's a nonstop, over-the-top rampage against evil, filled with gore, laughs, and a surprisingly sweet romance. Get ready for an outrageous, action comedy splatterfest where the unlikeliest hero saves the day, one gruesome bully at a time. Get ready for a horror film that hits you in the gut and the heart, because this isn't your average zombie flick. We Bury the Dead stars Daisy Ridley as Ava Newman, a woman shattered by a catastrophic military experiment that left her husband missing in the ruins of Tasmania. Desperate, Ava joins a body retrieval unit, a team tasked with identifying and burying the thousands of corpses left behind. She hopes, against all odds, to find her husband alive. But her desperate search takes a chilling turn when the bodies they are burying stop staying buried. These corpses are showing signs of life, rising to hunt, and turning Ava's mission of closure into a brutal, terrifying fight for survival. This film masterfully blends raw grief with intense survival horror. It's a haunting, character-driven nightmare about the terrifying cost of holding on to hope when the world has gone entirely dark. It asks, how do you mourn the dead when the dead refuse to rest? Prepare yourself for a chilling sci-fi horror, Shell, 2025. The film stars Elizabeth Moss as Samantha Lake, an aging actress losing roles to younger stars due to Hollywood's obsession with youth. Desperate, she turns to Shell, a pioneering beauty company led by the glamorous CEO, Zoe Shannon, Kate Hudson, who offers a radical, age-reversing skin treatment. Samantha's results are miraculous, but her new life quickly unravels. As Shell's former clients start vanishing and Samantha experiences grotesque physical side effects, she realizes the miracle comes at a monstrous cost. Beneath Zoe's flawless surface lies a terrifying secret involving body horror and a very literal price for eternal beauty. It's a sharp, campy nightmare about society's desperate pursuit of perfection. Are you ready to see what's under the surface? Welcome to the unforgiving wilds of Alaska. Get ready for The Last Frontier, the new action thriller series coming in 2025. The story drops us into the quiet, rugged barrens of Alaska, the jurisdiction of lone U.S. Marshal Frank Remnick, Jason Clarke. Frank's peaceful existence shatters when a prison transport plane crashes in the remote wilderness, unleashing dozens of violent, hardened inmates into the snow-covered landscape. Frank is the only thing standing between these dangerous fugitives and the small, vulnerable town he's sworn to protect. But as the manhunt begins, he starts to realize this was no accident. The crash was a calculated, opening move in a massive, politically charged conspiracy. With the odds stacked against him, and the unforgiving elements as deadly as the convicts, Frank must hunt down the escaped prisoners while unraveling a chilling plot that has far-reaching implications beyond the frozen frontier. It's a gripping story of survival, suspense, and a battle for a community's soul. Can one man stop a conspiracy in the middle of nowhere? Find out this October. Hold up, guys. This is not your typical sci-fi. Picture this. The year is 2055. All disease is gone, thanks to a miracle drug called Hapuna. Humanity is living in a perpetual state of peace, until its own creator, the genius Dr. Skinner, pops up with a chilling announcement. Hapuna is a delayed toxin, and everyone who took it will die in 30 days. That's right. The cure is the countdown to the end of the world. Enter Lazarus, a global task force of elite agents. The only people who didn't take the drug. They have 1 month to track down the vanished Skinner, figure out the antidote, and save a planet that doesn't even know it's walking dead. With action choreographed by the John Wick master, Chad Stahelski, and a mind-bending story from the director of Cowboy Bebop, this isn't just a race against time. It's a stylish, high-octane mystery that asks, what happens to a society when its salvation becomes its death sentence? The clock is ticking. You can't miss this. Get ready for a wedding weekend that goes completely off the rails with your cordially invited. Picture this, a beautiful, intimate island inn. Now picture 2 separate weddings accidentally double-booked for the exact same day. On one side, we have Jim, Will Ferrell, the overly attached, widowed father of the bride, determined to give his daughter the perfect day at the venue where he married her late mother. On the other side is Margot, Reese Witherspoon, the high-strung, type A sister of the other bride, who's also desperate to make her sister's unconventional wedding a fairy tale despite her judgmental family. When these 2 fiercely determined family heads collide, compromise is out the window. It's an escalating, hilarious battle for control of the small resort. From sabotaging the ceremony to all-out wedding war, Jim and Margot go head-to-head, but in the chaos, they might just find they have more in common than they think. Get ready for laugh-out-loud comedy, unexpected romance, and a wedding day neither family will ever forget. Are you ready for an action horror romance that defies the abyss? Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy star in The Gorge, 2025. Meet Levi and Dresa, 2 elite snipers from opposing sides of a secret world. Their mission: guard opposite edges of a vast, fog-shrouded gorge, protecting humanity from the unspeakable evil lurking below, known only as the Hollow Men. Their strict orders? Zero contact with each other. But isolation breeds connection. Using binoculars and handwritten signs, these 2 damaged souls begin a forbidden, star-crossed romance across the deadly chasm. Their bond is the only light in their desolate assignment. When an unexpected attack plunges them both into the terrifying depths, they discover the truth. The Gorge is not a gateway to hell, but a site of a decades-old bioweapons disaster that mutated previous guards into the monsters they're fighting. Now, they must navigate a grotesque, hostile world to expose the conspiracy and escape a nuclear failsafe, or become the next Hollow Men themselves. Can their love survive a monstrous fight for survival? Get ready to descend into the ultimate psychological abyss. Return to Silent Hill hits theaters January 23, 2026. Broken by the loss of his soulmate, James Sunderland, Jeremy Irvine, is tormented by an impossible letter from her. A spectral summons beckoning him back to the misty town of Silent Hill, the haunting site where his guilt resides. The idyllic resort he remembers is an illusion. In its place is an abyss of corrupted reality, where every shadow holds a terrifying, flesh-bound monster, each one a hideous manifestation of his own despair and dark secrets. James is relentlessly hunted by the colossal, blade-wielding Pyramid Head, a figure of judgment that feels terrifyingly personal. To find Mary, James must confront a horrifying, buried truth about their past. His quest to save her is a battle against his own sanity. Will James survive this mental gauntlet, or will Silent Hill finally claim his shattered soul? If you're new here, join the FrameVault community. Subscribe for exclusive movie spoilers, analysis, and many more. Your support fuels our content, and we're stoked you're here. Thanks for watching.